Tottenham Hotspur was the first club in the 20th century to achieve the League and FA Cup double, winning both competitions in the 1960-61 season. In 1962, the FA Cup was retained. Spurs were knocked out by Benfica in the semi-finals of the European Cup and managed third in the league. A year after that, Spurs became the first British club to win a major European trophy, the European Cup Winners' Cup. But it all stems back to the style delivered by their manager, Spurs' most loyal servant, Bill Nicholson, and that amazing double-winning season. Within 2 seasons, Bill Nicholson had guided his team from 18th in the First Division to top spot. They scored goals galore with a mix of energy and precision passing. Spurs dominated, winning their first 11 games and scoring 115 goals in the season. Danny Blanchflower, Dave Mackay, Bill Brown, Maurice Norman, they were just some of the names that dazzled at White Hart Lane and Wembley, where Spurs beat Leicester in an FA Cup final to record this marvellous footballing feat, the first time it's been done since 1897. 3 Tottenham legends are here to share those memories. Winger Terry Dyson made his debut for Spurs in 1954-55 under Arthur Rowe. He scored 17 goals in the double-winning season, none more important than the goal in the FA Cup final at Wembley. He also scored twice in the European Cup Winners' Cup final victory over Atletico Madrid. My next guest scored goals for fun. Bobby Smith was a bold, brave, shoulder-charging centre-forward who scored 208 goals in 317 games for Spurs, whom he served from December 1955 to May 1964. He scored in both the 1961 and 62 FA Cup final wins and was a key figure when the European Cup Winners' Cup was won in 1963. Next, a Welshman who represented his country in the 1958 World Cup finals, of course, when they agonisingly lost to the winners Brazil in the quarter-finals. Swansea-born Cliff Jones was one of the jewels in Spurs' crown. He recovered from a broken leg to thrill crowds for 10 years at White Hart Lane. If Dave Mackay was the heartbeat and Danny Blanchflower the inspiration of that side, Jones was the entertainer. At his best, he was considered the finest left-winger in the world. Is it fair to say, Cliff, that Spurs side winning wasn't enough? It was the manner in which you won.
It's right, Jeff, yes. Well, Bill Nicholson, the manager, sort of he'd impressed that in us, that, you know, it wasn't about winning, it was also about sort of doing it in a certain style and a certain flair, and he made sure that we did that. Training was the important thing with Bill. He would say to us, you will play the way you train, and he made sure that we trained with effort and method. And yes, that's the way we went about our game, certainly. I just want to put you up on something, Jeff. It wasn't 115 goals we scored, it was 119. 119? It was, yes.
Can't count past 115. It started almost immediately, it seems, Bobby, because it seems amazing to think now, doesn't it? Bill Nicholson's first game in charge, a 10-4 victory over Everton, and you scored 4 of them.
A magnificent night. I'll never forget that night.
Yeah. It must have been quite a game.
Oh, it was a good game, you know, but good for us, right, because we got 10 goals. But it takes a good side to get 10 goals with any team. And I think that was one special team that we played in.
Was that indicative of the sort of, style of football you were going to play in the future? I mean, scoring 10.
Well, I think it was the way you can only go, Jeff. You can only attack. When you defend, you defend, and when you attack, you attack. And I think that's the best way to attack people, and you get somewhere when you do things like that. And that's how we did it. And we always played like that.
I mean, despite that, Terry, he obviously saw some problems because, Spurs had been a struggling side, hadn't they?
Yes, they had.
And he brought a lot of his own players, the likes of, obviously, Dave Mackay and new goalkeeper and John White and so on and so forth. What was the view of the players who were already there at that time? Did they feel threatened by so many newcomers arriving?
I don't think so, because we had, the reserves. It was a feat to get in the reserve side. I remember once we played Arsenal. I'd just joined the club, and I'd just come out of the army, and it was we played Arsenal reserves, and there was 10,000 people there. So it's not like today. They haven't got a reserve side now, Tottenham. So if you didn't play in the first team, you play in the reserves. So we were playing a good competition every week, and then we just happened to click, I suppose, boys, didn't we?
That's right.
Really, and won the first 11 games, which was brilliant. But we went out, Jeff. We didn't go out like they do today. It's all fear, I think, today. We went out. We didn't think we were going to get beat, and we attacked home and away. And that's
You
how
played
it
5
went.
forwards sometimes, didn't you?
Yeah, we had 5 forwards.
5 forwards.
They don't play with wingers now. Clifford and I were there, and I scored 17 that year, and you got more.
Well, I think all the forward line got double figures that year.
Right.
Sort of, but Bobby topped the lot. But everybody got double figures, and that's the way we went out. And that was important to Bill for us to do that. And of course, he had the players who could also carry that out.
Because he's a legendary name, Bill Nicholson.
Oh.
But what was he like as a man, Bobby? Was he quiet?
He was a very quiet man, but he could raise his voice a little bit, you know. But what I liked about him, he let you do what you wanted to do to a certain extent. And if you did that, he was very, very happy with you. And I admired him for that.
I mean, could you say you enjoyed playing under him?
I enjoyed every minute, Jeff. Every game I had for Tottenham, I really enjoyed it. Now and again, I didn't feel too clever to go out. You know how you feel sometimes. But every time I went out in front of the Tottenham crowd, I got urged there to score goals, which I did, try and get goals for myself and the other players.
You got goals galore, didn't you? But he wasn't an easy man to please sometimes,
No,
was
he
he, though,
wasn't.
Terry? He didn't lavish praise.
I'll tell you a story here, Jeff. He wanted you to win, but he wanted you to win with style. And obviously, we did do that most of the season, but in the cup final, I missed a sitter. Bob knocked it over, and I knocked it over the top. So I've still got a photograph of it. And but I scored. 2 minutes later, I knocked one in Bob, and he scored, and he knocked one over, and I got the second goal. And he would come on the field after, and he was congratulating everybody, and he came up to me, and he went, "What about that goal you missed?" I said, "Well, I know, but what about the one I scored?" "What about the one you missed?" he said. I said, "Well, I just got underneath it." "Fair enough," he said. And off he went. And that was him. But it was a bit disappointing, the final, I think, wasn't it, lads? Because we didn't play as well as we'd played all the season, but we'd got the double, which was most important.
Yeah.
The only time he was praised as is when we won the Cup Winners' Cup final, because we did play well.
We did play well that, yeah. Well, I can remember sort of one particular game I had against Fulham. I had a particularly good first half, a really good first half, and I got a couple of goals. And I'd come in at half-time, and Bill came up to me and he slapped me on the back. He said, "Well done, son," he said. And I went, "Aye, aye, Bill." I said, "A bit of encouragement there," he said, "Oh, a bit of a pat in the back." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Remember, son," he said, "a pat in the back is only 2 foot away from a kick up the arse." And of course, he gave me plenty of them. Yeah, but also when it was needed, he would give you some encouragement. Yeah. But that was Bill. Very difficult man to please, Bill.
Yeah. One of his views was that, you know, the players weren't the most important people at White Hart Lane, wasn't it? It was the spectators were the most important people.
Yes.
The fans, they were for him.
They were a very good lot of people, they were, when you were winning. You know what I mean? Very, very good. And the egg was on all that much, and I think we played well because of them half the time. And I'll never forget that Bill had to go at me one day. We went to Ipswich, and we set plans and everything. And Cliffy was on the wing, and, you know, for the crosses. And Cliffy went, "Keep going, Bob, I can't get up there." So I went, and I scored a goal. And then at half-time, he gave me a rollicking for scoring a goal. So I thought, well, I hadn't scored for 2 or 3 weeks, and he had to go at me like that. But I enjoyed it. I still kept playing well and everything, and getting the goals. I was well pleased.
Because these were very different times, weren't they, to what they are now? I mean, dare I ask, what sort of money you were on then, Bobby?
I was on £18 a week.
£18 a week?
That's right.
Crikey, it's a long way from, you know, the fortunes that are earned now, aren't they? But you were saying to me that, you know, you'd actually moved to London when you were 14 from Cleveland, and you'd already spent a year down the pit.
I was down to Mines a year. When I was 14, I left to come to Chelsea. And I'll tell you what, I was frightened to death I was when I come down to London, because it was such a big place. But I played against Charlton, Gordon Jago, in the cup final, and I scored 3 goals and on the Friday night. And on the Saturday night, I was very, very homesick, and I got on the train and went back home. And my dad said, "What are you doing back here? You should have stayed there for a fortnight." So I said, "No, it's too big, the place is too big." So he said, "Well, you're going back with me in a fortnight's time." Said, "So enjoy yourself now, I'm taking you back. Because if you don't," he said, "you'll regret you know, what you're going to do in football." And he told me everything about what was what, you know, and I went to the FA Cup final, which you dream of, you know, to go to that. And when you won the league, the double, well, I couldn't get over it. It was fantastic.
Fantastic. Cliff, wasn't there an occasion when you went to see Bill Nicholls and to ask for more money? and at the time when you were probably the best winger in the world.
Well, this was 1961, 62 now, when the maximum wage had been abolished then, Jeff, and going from £20 a week, we went up, and I was on about sort of 40 quid a week, and by now Jimmy Greaves, he'd joined the club, and talking about sort of, as we do sometimes, about sort of money, and he's saying, well, you should be getting more than that, Cliff, he says. You know, you are, as you've just said, I would possibly the best in Europe, and he said, go in and see Bill and have a chat with him about it. So I went in to see Bill, I looked, and he said, come in, son, and he said, well, what's up? I said, well, I'd like to have a raise, Bill. And he said, well, on what basis do you want a raise? And I said, well, I think I'm the best winger in Europe. He said, do you then? He said, well, you know, that's a matter of opinion, he says. He said, on the way out, close the door behind you, son. He said, will you? So I didn't get my raise. I did eventually, yeah.
I think he thought he should play for Tottenham for nothing. Because I don't think now he could have handled the money, what the players demand these days. And, I mean, yeah, I was on 20, were you on 18? I was on 20.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and I went up to 40.
Bob, surely.
I went up to 40.
It's coming to life a bit now, Jeff. I'm trying to
I thought you were on more than me.
What was the spirit like amongst you guys at the time then? I mean, did you go out together in the evenings and the such?
Well, some of us did. Yeah. Some of us, I mean, I used to go out with Dave and Bob. We used to go with the dogs, didn't we, Bob? A couple of nights a week.
That's what I admired about Bill Nicholson. You could go out as long as you looked after yourself and that. I mean, we went to the dogs on a night town, you know, we enjoyed it, come back. And he never thought no more about having a go at you, but you're in at the right time, which was correct way to do, you know. And I admired him for that, Bill Nicholson.
I think it was a start, Jeff, we had, you know, with winning the first 11 games, which was nobody's beat yet. And that put us in pole position, and we never looked back from that, really.
Yeah, because we won the first 11, didn't we?
Yeah.
We drew the 12th.
Manchester City.
And then we won the next 4, and then Sheffield Wednesday, and then they beat us sort of this.
2-1, yeah.
But by then, you could say we more or less had sort of sorted the league out to a certain extent.
But they were your main rivals in some respects, weren't they, Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday were. They were a big
second.
club and a very difficult side to play against, particularly about Hillsborough. And I think to achieve the championship, to win the First Division championship, we played Sheffield Wednesday at White Hart Lane, and we beat them 2-1 and clinched the championship.
Who were the other stars? Who were the other key figures in that team for you?
Well, of course, you had Danny Blanchard, our skipper. I mean, OK, so the most important man in the club was Bill Nicholson, there's no doubt about that. He sort of he managed the club from the boot room to the boardroom. But when we went on the field of play, Danny took over, because he had the ability, the intelligence, and fantastic character. I remember sort of, because I used to switch about Terry, didn't I?
And I went
over to the right-hand side, and I'd been playing there for about 20 minutes, and Danny said to me, because I used to get the ball, I used to run with it, you know, I didn't know where I was going, I just used to run. I loved doing it. And Danny said to me, he said, Cliffy says, you realise the ball is round and it will roll, son? I thought, what's he talking about? What do you mean, Danny, the ball is round? He said, why don't you try passing the bloody thing now and again? He said, because Danny always liked having the ball, and I never used to. So, but he was very important to us, Danny, because he would sort of make the changes, because he had the intelligence to do it, and Bill allowed him to do it as well. Right. And he was just a fantastic player and a fantastic character for us, and we all respected him. And in sort of team talks, I mean, Danny would take over the team talks.
It was a good liaison between Bill and
Bill would say,
team.
Would anybody want to add anything? And of course, Danny would say, yes, I'd like to say something. But then we'd go, oh, no, here he comes. And we didn't know what he was talking about, you see. He didn't. He went over the top of our heads.
Everybody dreaded it, do it. When Bill finished, I said, oh, he's not going to start. He started for another half an hour, 20 minutes.
Dave was a big, important part of the team.
And of course, Mackay.
Dave Mackay, I mean, he was incredible. Hated getting beat at anything, golf, anything. I played in snooker. We had 2 snooker tables in there, and we were on the black ball and in the thing, and I hit this ball, I missed it. It's gone around the table, went in he smashed a queue. And I was gutted because he'd got beat.
You know, Jeff, I think it was one of them players that he said to me one day, he said, if my dad was on the other side and I was playing against him, he said, I'd have him over. And I think he would.
Well, I suppose at the time that Bill signed Dave, I suppose we lacked just that edge, I suppose.
That's right, yes.
And I could, like, Dave was an absolute winner, and he brought that into the side, into the team. And well, I can always remember when we went on tour to Russia, 1959.
Yeah.
And I roomed with Dave Mackay, and I couldn't understand what he was saying. It was, and the room was a complete card. He was an untidy card, wasn't he?
Terrible.
And so I went to Bill Nick and I said, Bill, I said, could I have an interpreter, please? He said, what do you need an interpreter? A Russian one? I said, no, a Scottish one. I said, because I don't know what Mackay's saying to him. I couldn't understand him. It was, oh, hi. So I said, help me out, yeah. But he was such a fantastic, and
brilliant.
Possibly the most influential player that I've ever played with. And he was very important to the side, along with John White, of course.
Yeah, John. Was...
If they played well, if John White, Danny Blanchard and Mackay, they played well, we played well.
Burnley are going to figure quite a lot of times in this particular period of Spurs history. You know, you're going to meet them in the semi-finals of the Cup. But there was a game that season, I don't even remember it, boys, where you're 4-0 up in the league against Burnley in half-time. And I think you finished 4-4. Terry, what happened?
Well, we were 4-0 up coasting, and then I think you missed a chance to make it 5.
It was your fault. It was your fault, Bobby.
I'm sure it was you, Bob. It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I passed it to him there.
And we could have gone 5-0 up. And I know they just got a goal and they got another one. We always had good games against Burnley, because Jimmy McElroy was there and his Paladannis, and he was a thinker like Danny. You know, the free kicks, they all organised these little free kicks and whatnot. But they were a good side, Burnley, weren't they?
They were. We were the two sides, I think, at that particular time was Burnley and Tottenham that sort of people wanted to see, and similar in our styles. And I suppose you're saying about the free kicks, we took a lot from them, didn't we?
Yeah,
as regards the work in the free kicks.
And they were a good side, the work in
the ball.
They were
a really good side.
Very good, very good.
But you saw them off very easily, didn't you? Effectively in the FA Cup semi-final. I mean, you got a couple of goals.
Yeah, that's right.
It was 3-0 in the end, wasn't it?
You got one, didn't it?
3-1, was it?
3-1, yeah.
3-1.
The only thing, Jeff, we were winning 2-1 and they scored. And I thought it was a good goal from the corner.
Oh,
and he disallowed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
And from where I was, I thought, oh, hell, it's 2-2. And he disallowed it. And I think you got the third, didn't you?
I got the third.
You got the third.
Wrapped it all up, Tim.
Yeah. Wrapped it up.
Yeah.
So
only kick I had.
Lovely.
Were you aware then, you know, that was the first, you're into the final, it's the first time since 1921, a long time for a club like Spurs. Were you aware of just, you know, how significant an achievement it was?
Well, we were very, very aware of sort of, you know, I think it's every young person's dream as a footballer to play at Wembley in the FA Cup final, and we're very aware of that, certainly. And I suppose, yes, we were sort of aware of the fact that we could achieve the double. There's no doubt about that. But I think we just took that game, we were just so pleased to have beaten Burnley and to get into that cup final. And we were just very pleased at that moment that we'd done it. And it was like Wembley, here we come. And I don't think we realised how much we were achieving at that particular time.
Danny said to me once, we were walking, it was a game at Tottenham, they were playing Arsenal, and we both left there then. I was at Fulham, and we'd barely been invited back, and I was walking round to the car park with him, and he said, people don't realise what we did, you know, not yet. He said, they will do in years to come. Yeah. He said, in these players today, they're getting the money now. He said, but they'll never, ever have the memories we have. I said, well, you're right, Dan, but I wouldn't have minded the money as well. He said, but he was right. They won't have the memories we've got. And it's about memories, really, Jeff, isn't it? Yeah. Any sport. Because once the game's finished, it's a memory. It's great memories.
Hey, you've got some great memories, and obviously, after this, I mean, you're into the final of the FA Cup. We touched just briefly on that Sheffield Wednesday game, didn't we? The one at White Hart Lane. I mean, effectively, Sheffield Wednesday, I think it was a must-win game for them to have any chance of the league. And I think Don Megson put them in front. But you scored, didn't you? You scored the equalising goal, didn't you, against Wednesday that day? The winner, was it?
The winner, yeah.
Did Les get the equaliser? Les Allen?
Yeah, Les Allen got the equaliser.
Les Allen.
Because Peter Swan used to play in the England team with me, and I was facing their goal, and I flicked it up in the air, and it went over his head, and I turned round and hit it on the ball, and it went in. And I got called names then.
We got presented with a cup in the...
He was a nice lad, Peter Swan. But when it went in, I was happy. And Ron Springett, I used to give him a hit now and again against the goalpost. I hit him one day in the England match. Anyway, we were due to play him that day, and he said, "Don't come in and hit me." He said, let me offer a change. And I thought, well, one day he was going to catch this ball. I thought, you're going to go, Ron, in the net. Because in them days, you could hit a goalkeeper.
Legal, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Jay, it took a lot of the atmosphere off the game. You know, I mean, a goalkeeper's there to be hit. I mean, he can have knee you in the back, he can punch you in the face, he can do anything he wants to you, right? And I used to think, well, you're not going to do it to me, I'm going to get at you first, which I enjoyed every minute of it.
But you didn't regard yourself as a dirty player, did you?
No, I don't think I was a dirty player, no, but I was a hard player, Jeff. And I think you've got to have a hard centre forward to do damage for other people. And that's what I used to do. I mean, Greavesy reckoned he got another 20 goals when we were playing with me up the front.
Well, we used to call Bob our minder. He used to look after us, didn't he? He was our minder. Pass him on to Bob. Bob, sort him out, please.
I was quiet as a lamb, Jeff, off the field.
Yeah, he was.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Do you think goalkeepers feared him?
Yeah, they did.
Against him?
We played Wolves. He knows what I'm talking about. I've told him about it before. And we were 2-2. And the ball came over, and I forgot it was in goal. And he came out to get it, and Bobby went in. I thought, he's going to get clattered here. And he bottled it, the keeper. And he came like that, and Bobby got his head there. And he'd got really hurt if he'd come out, that he'd really gone through with it, the keeper. And I thought, that was brave. 3-2 we won. That was it.
But I think you've got to, you know, I mean, it's a game, Jeff, that, it's, you know, you've got to play it hard, but, you know, you've got to play it proper, you know what I mean? I used to go in hard. I never used to try and break anybody's leg or anything like that. I used to go in hard, and I used to make the game hard for other people to play, for the other side to play. And I was pleased with my game. Bill Nicholson never said, you know, when he never said to me, you're doing this, you're doing that wrong and everything. I used to play the game as hard as I wanted it to play. And I got away with it with the referees. I mean, they had no query. But I enjoyed every minute. I wish it was back again.
We mentioned Bill being hard to please. Was he pleased by the league title and the manner you'd won it in?
Oh, he certainly was, Bill. Yes, there's no doubt about that. He was very pleased with our style of play, and of course that was down to Bill. Sort of, he would say to us, you know, like the easy thing in football is getting the ball, the hard thing is keeping it, and sort of that's what we based our sort of game about. Very much, I think he took a lot of that from like the push and run side that he played in, didn't he, with Arthur Rowe, and he brought that into our side, and he was very pleased, Bill, and he talking about sort of values. He'd give us values also, sort of supporters. You know, they were absolutely fantastic, the support we had, and still are the supporters. And to Bill, the most important people in the football club were the supporters. Right. He would say to us, you know, sort of, the most important people in this football club are not players, not directors, supporters. And he made sure we went out and gave them value for money. And I think for most of the time we did that. And you agree there, Terry and Bob? We did.
We did, no doubt at all. They enjoyed it. There's the little... The best nights, I think, were the glory, you know, the European nights. They loved it. I mean, we loved it as well, because it was in the evening, nice and cool, and we had the white gear on then, didn't we? The white kit on.
We played in one of them, Jeff. Where did we play with that bloke spitting in my face, the goalkeeper, didn't he, for 80 minutes?
He did a bad thing there, Bob, didn't he?
He never stopped spitting in my face, Jeff, when I was going up for the ball. I was tended. So I said, you go up there and have a sort out. He went up and he went straight in Dave's face. He went, yeah, you're right. And he walked back again. so I said to him, I said, you better not come to Tottenham. You better have pneumonia or something. So he said, yeah, you're all that. So I thought, yeah, you keep on about it. And there was a reporter next to me, and he was laughing his head off because he knew what he was going to get. And he said to this other reporter, he said, no, it was foreign reporter, he said, what he said, he means. He said, and he'll do it, he'll frighten him to death. So anyway, when he come over, we set a plan up. I'd pass the ball to Danny, John White, and John White passed it back to Danny, and he chipped it into right into the centre of where the goalkeeper was. And I tell you what, I set off, Joe, about 20 yards. I'll never run so fast. And I thought, well, I've got him. And he's looking at me like this, looking at me now. As he got the ball like that, I hit him. And he went straight in the back of the net, and the ball went in the net. I tell you, he let 18 that night, didn't he?
Yeah.
He let 18.
That was against Gornick, wasn't it?
Gornick,
that was the first game over there. We'd been out there, and the team Bill had been out there the week before. And in the team talk, he finished up with saying, I'll be disappointed if you don't win out here. We're 3-0 down at half-time, and deservedly so. And he said,
4 down at one time.
Yeah, I know. I'm coming to that, Cliff.
Oh, good.
he said, and anyway, for Christ's sake, don't let us get another goal. Well, they got one straight after half-time. And then you got one, didn't you? And I got one. So to give us a chance back, and at home we murdered them. And that was the start of the glory nights.
Fantastic.
I mean, we absolutely murdered them.
And I think when you talk about the supporters again, it was the atmosphere.
The fire was
Jeff,
electric.
It was never experienced nothing like it in all. And we played in a few places, Ninian Park and sort of Hampden, but this was something very special.
We came out at the end then. It didn't come out in the middle. Came out at the end and up the steps, and I thought, unbelievable. It was electric. I can't really describe it, but I spoke to somebody years later who was in the crowd, and he said the atmosphere was electric. And I thought, yeah, you're right, it was.
You know, Jeff, we played against Sunderland one night in an FA Cup replay. And I set off an hour and a half before. I'm not far off the ground, was I? About 5 minutes.
Well, the same way in Palmer's Green we lived,
right. And I got in the car, and I couldn't get down White Hart Lane. I thought, well, it's only an hour to go. So the copper come by on a motorbike. So I said, oh, excuse me. I said, could you give me a lift down on your motorbike to the ground? And he recognised who I was. He said, yeah. I said, where should I park this car? He said, park it there. He said, let them walk. So anyway, my wife and I had to walk down there, you know. So anyway, I got on back of the thing. It still took us 20 minutes to get down there. And I got there 20 minutes before the kick-off.
There were 65,000 people there that night.
Incredible.
And they locked the gates and everything. Yeah. Because we'd drawn 1-1 up there. And we were lucky, well, another 5 minutes, we were in trouble.
It was. And the support up there, they had the Roker Park, the Roker Park row, and they came, when they equalised it, with the big Charlie Early was coming up for free kicks and corners, and they were going potty, and he's headed this one down, he's rebounded somewhere, and it was the big William McFeet or somebody come in, he whacked it into the back of the net, and all the big bank, they all poured onto the pitch.
Were going, what? It never happened before.
No.
Well, what's happened? And we hung on anyway.
Incredible.
But we murdered them at home. We beat them 5.
Slaughtered them 5. Yeah, only one team in it at home.
I got 2.
Did you get 2? I don't know.
But, you know,
hey, I didn't score that, right? No.
Yeah, but you've won the league. We'll talk about the cup final, shall we? Because the first thing I was looking at was the fact that you only used 17 players all season. I think 3 of those only played, once. I mean, how was it that you managed not to get injured?
Do you know, Jeff, I shouldn't have played in the cup final.
I was going to ask you about that. You had to have painkiller injections, didn't you?
I had 2, 4, 6. I had 6 painkillers. I had 2 in the morning, 9 o'clock. I said to Maurice Norman, he's the only one who ever did it. Bill Nicholson didn't know, none of them knew except Maurice Norman. I said, don't you open your mouth. I said, I've got to go to the doctors at 9 o'clock. So Cecil Poynton says to Maurice, where's Bobby? He said, oh, he's gone for a walk up the road. I'd gone to the doctors to have 2 injections put in. So when I come back, I had injections come in, and the doctor said, can you get back at 1 o'clock? And I put another 2 in. He said, and then you should be all right till half-time. And then your doctor, the club doctor, can put 2 in. So I went down, I did that. He said, he's not here again. Where's he gone? He said, I don't know. He's gone out somewhere. He said, for a walk. And I come back and I said, I've just been up the road for a walk. I couldn't let know, Jeff, because I couldn't have played if I hadn't had the injection. And then at half-time, I said to Dave, it's gone. So he said, all right, you have another 2 injections put in when you get in there. And I had 2 more, and I lasted out till 5 minutes before the end. And then I just stood. Otherwise, I could never have played, Jeff.
And I read somewhere that you said you had to play because your family were coming.
I played because my dad was coming down, and what he said, one day you might be in the cup final. And what thrilled me was that he come down, my mum came down, my brothers came down, and they all went to the cup final. And I was really, really pleased because my dad said to me, one day you might get to the cup final. And I was so pleased I did it while he was alive.
We're on the brink of making history. You're playing Leicester City in the FA Cup final at Frank McClintock. captaining it. Were you aware of just what an achievement you were sort of standing on the brink of?
Yes.
Not really.
I think we were. I think we're on that edge, Jeff, where, you know, we're going to win it. We're going to win it, and things went wrong.
We were confident,
you know?
really. Every game we went out, really. I mean, it wasn't a cup final, and it was. We knew we were going to create history if we'd.
But we
Man,
weren't aware of...
we should have been
no,
2 or 3 goals up, Jeff, if somebody had scored a goal, you know what I mean? I mean, I passed the ball to him and he missed it when he's telling about Will Nicholson had to go to him. I mean, I put it on his head on a plate, really. Look at it. I put it on a plate for him and he missed it.
Missed it.
So I gave him another one later on and he scored with it and he said, oh, that was, I said, that was better. And he scored, you see, Jeff. So.
But as I said, Danny Blamslow said, people don't realise what we've done. Yeah. And we didn't. Well, I don't think we realised really the significance of it. He did. And he said in years to come, people will remember it.
It takes a lot to remember. Even now, Jeff, I can't think that I've done it, that I've done the double with Tottenham. I don't know why it is, but it's just one of them things. I suppose it's such a great night and a great day that we had, that we won the double. I still can't think today that we won it, did it?
That was the next day. And I went, because we were on the parade, and I picked Dave Mackay up, and we were going down I was coming down all the back streets towards Edmonton Town Hall. There was nobody about. I said, Dave, this is going to be embarrassing. I said, there's nobody about. I said, you know, we've got this coach and everything. Anyway, when I've come into the thing, I've never seen so many people in my life. It was incredible,
Well,
wasn't
it was. Right down Tottenham High Road.
Right, Tottenham High
past
Road,
the ground, it was
people.
The Royal Dance Hall, the band was on the top of the roof there. It was just unbelievable.
Out of windows and everything.
I met a woman on yesterday, this is the honest truth, right? I was in a betting shop, Paul, a friend of mine, Paul, I forget his second name. I went in there and this woman came in to have a bet. And she went, oh, you're Bobby Smith. I said, am I really? And he went, yeah, that's him, that's him. So she turned around, she said, do you know, she said, I watched you when I was 7-year-old. And I thought, oh, I said, do you leave me out? And she was an oldish lady, you know what I mean? She said, I used to go and watch you when I was 7-year-old. I said, that makes me look old, dear, doesn't it? She said, yeah, you're still all right, though. And then she had the bet and walked out.
Feel, Cliff, there that you'd got the team and you could go on to dominate for years to come?
I did. In fact, I thought we should have done the double of the following season.
Yeah, we should have.
We should have done it, Jeff, because Ipswich, they took the championship. They beat us twice that season. Like it was like 2 points a game. They took the 4 points off us, but we were a much better side than them. We played them in the Charity Shield, and we slaughtered them 5-1.
I can't believe
did.
That.
And we were a much better team. But you know, congratulations to Ipswich, of course, for doing it. But we should have done it again. We should have, because by now we had Jimmy Greaves, because Jim had come into the side, and what can you say about Jim? The greatest goal scorer there's ever been, you know, there's no doubt about that. And he'd added to the team.
But you had Europe on your mind as well, then, didn't you? Because you were in the European Cup.
The European Cup.
And you got to the semi-final. You played Benfica, didn't you? And a lot of people would say you were very, very unlucky.
I tell you what, we got
robbed over at Benfica.
Robbed over there.
Did you?
We should have won 3-1 and they won 3-1.
Yeah. What happened?
Jimmy Greaves passed, he dribbled 3 people, didn't he?
And then he just allowed him for offside.
Passed the ball back to me, I hit it in the net and he gave him offside, Jimmy, and he's beat 3 men.
It was terrible.
And then he come over to Tottenham and he scored a brilliant goal, Jimmy did.
Yeah.
And the little referee gave it. I said, what are you doing? He said he was offside. He said, who was? I said, he's back at paper. He was offside, the one on the far side. I didn't know it was then. But I gave him a mouthful, Jeff, and I walked away, like I generally did. But, you know, these referees can make a game or break a game for you. They can make you win it.
Side out there. They're Portugal mainly made up from Benfica. They were a good side.
They were a top side.
Yeah.
But whoever won that one was going to win it, because Real Madrid had gone at that time, hadn't they?
Real Madrid. Whoever won out of us and Benfica were going to win the European Cup. There's no doubt about that.
So unlucky.
But you were battering him in the second leg, weren't they? Hanging on right at the end.
They were
very good.
Like, whereas Bob really intimidated, you know, Bob had a lot more to him than being sort of like tough. He could play, Bob. But whereas they had this Costa Pierre at the centre half and Jamal at the centre half and Costa Pierre the goalkeeper. And whereas Bob would intimidate them, they was giving you a little bit back, Bob, weren't they? Yeah. And, you know, it didn't sort of work so much, you know, for the size as it normally did.
Jeff, they know, you know what I mean? And he knew I was trying to torment him, but they're very hard to torment a good player.
And they were a good side, Benfica. They were a top side.
They were a good side, Benfica, yeah, I give them good.
But talking about referees' issues, now, one thing I was speaking about Bill Nick, about sort of leadership and values. He would say to us about referees, and he would say to us, now, don't you lot whinge to me about referees, because I'll tell you something now, referees are only human, they make mistakes. But he said they won't make as many mistakes as you lot out there. And I think that's very important for players to hear these things, which I don't think they do these days. And I think to a certain extent we did accept referees' decisions, yeah. I know Bobby used to have a go at him now and again, but he was very much for the referee and how difficult and important a job, you know, referees do. And I think that's not sort of the case today, is it?
I think I'm right in saying that you'd had a visit to Bill Nicholson's office before that European Cup semi-final, and you were sitting on the touchline, weren't you? You weren't involved in them. Well,
we played Gornik and I scored. We played them at home and I scored. Then we played Feyenoord and I scored away, and I've scored at home, and they left me out. He played with a sweeper. That's what happened. He played with so somebody had to go. It was me. I was gutted really because there were no subs then. Yeah. And I scored the first 4 games in the European Cup, and
frustrating.
Very frustrating.
But was that the same season you became the first Spurs player to score a hat-trick?
No, it was 1961.
Against Arsenal. Was that the previous season?
661 I scored, yeah. Yeah, first ever to do it.
No, you thought Jeff wasn't going to mention that, was he?
What?
You thought Jeff wasn't going to mention that? You're pleased, aren't you?
I'd have brought it up.
Yeah.
It's funny,
well, how did that feel?
Yeah. That was incredible. I mean, we were winning 2-0. And I got the second goal of the crossbar and I nodded it in to make it 2-0. And then they went 3-2 up. Mel Charles played for them at the time. And then we got a corner and it came across and it bounced, it hit my hand there and it bounced down. I lashed it in. And they went mad, he gave it. They went mad. The crowd there, they were chasing him. And because he didn't see it, I was right in a crowd of players. And then 2 minutes later, I did a 1-2 with Danny and I've smashed it in. 3-2 with him. So that was, I could have had anything that time.
I think there's a lot of referees make the damage themselves, some of the things they do. Instead of being strict and said, you know, that's it, and they don't do that, Jeff. You know what I mean? They get themselves more into trouble with sort of doing silly things that I see them do. I mean, some tackles, I mean, you don't tackle some of them, they go over and roll over about 5 or 6 times. I think
how would your teammates have reacted if that had happened in your day?
It wouldn't happen, Jeff. You never see it. If you got tackled, you got tackled. And they never moaned and groaned. They got up again and you knew you were going to get, you know, these old players, Barris and all that lot, you knew you were going to get a kick back. Tommy Banks and all that, which I think, you know, is good. You know they're going to tackle you and you can tackle them and all you do is get a grunt from them and that's it. But the referees never used to say a word. They just let you get on with it. And today, you know, I'm a bit shocked at today because you watch the television and you watch these players and they roll over about 10 times, you know what I mean? I mean, they keep going. Now, once they do that, they're not injured. And I said that the referee then should book them.
So was it like that then when you played Benfica? And in fact, well, let's take it on to the next year when you did win some silverware and you played Atletico Madrid. Did you feel that there was a lot of play acting in foreign sides then?
No, it wasn't.
I don't think you see a lot of it then because they were good players. I mean, even when Stanley Matthews was playing and Tom Finney was playing, which I admire him very well, and Tommy Lawton, they used to get a kick, but they never used to have an argument with the referee or anything. They carry on with the game, which I think you should do.
Let's talk about that Cup Winners' Cup final, shall we? You've been beaten in the European Cup in the semi-finals the year before. You've gone to the European Cup Winners' Cup final. You're playing Atletico Madrid. Cliff, you haven't just beaten them, have you? You've absolutely beaten them out of sight.
Yeah. It was close for a while, though, Jeff. Yeah. It was, and like we were sort of 1 up at half time.
John scored, didn't he?
And then no, we were 2 up at half time, weren't we?
2 up at half time.
And then just after half time, they really pressing us, and then they had a shot on Ron Henry. Sort of he knocked one over the bar with his hand, penalty, quite rightly, and they scored, and we was under the cosh a little bit then.
Really was.
And of course, Dyson came in with that sort of. That banana shot,
I've never done
wasn't
it before, Jeff. I never did. I got a ball played up to me. He's right behind me, the full-back, and I flicked it there, and it's gone over there, and I've gone. And I'm away from him now, but I can feel him right down the back of me. I thought he's gonna, and I nearly got. I got the ball and virtually knocked it over, and it swung in like that. And I thought, oh dear, now what's going on? He's got it, and he's gone like that, the keeper. And he's pushed it in, and it changed the game. That didn't it?
It did.
Really.
There's no doubt, and it was no doubt. It was Terry's night, and he would often remind us about that because whenever we say after that we'd be playing, he might be in a five-a-side game, and he'd make. He was, oh Dyson, for Christ's sake, what are you doing? And he said, oi. Remember Rotterdam. That was his night.
Yeah, I crossed another one, Jimmy scored, and then the last one I've done a 1-2 Tony Marker, and I've gone and they're all I can't see the keeper. I just hit it, and it was right in the corner.
That night, Jeff, when we won that 5-1, Bill had a team talk beforehand, and he said to me, he said, he'll clout you. He said, he'll come in and really hit you hard. And I thought, oh well, another one. You know, they're all like that. Some of them. So anyway, all of a sudden we went kicked off, and I don't think he'd been playing 10 minutes. He come wall up and he hit me, but I just rolled over and I thought, you're going on the floor, and you know, when I got a chance. And the referee never murmured at me. I got up and I got my chance, and I hit him with the elbow in the stomach, and he went down like a flock of bricks. Did he?
Yeah, he did.
And he went on and he got up, and what he wasn't going to do to me, I said, well, I'm still here. I said, keep going, have a go, you'll do it again. But he'd have got it again if it started. But he was a bit rough, wasn't he?
Yeah, they won it the year before.
Bob could speak Spanish as well, you know that, didn't he? He could speak Spanish.
They won it the year before, so nobody won it 2 years in succession.
Amazing.
Because we got beat by Manchester United.
And what did he say to you as you went off the field?
Oh, yeah, he said, you better retire now. He said, you'll never play like that again. I said, I'm just coming into my peak.
It was Dyson
in the dressing room, yeah, it was in the dressing room after. It was a big dressing room, I remember there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a big
And of course,
he was
again, the
delighted.
first English side to win a European trophy. I mean, that's something nobody can ever take away from
That's
you.
right.
That's right.
And I think, Jeff, people always remember the first of people, don't they? Remember our double side, and the Tottenham team still compared to compare them with us. You know, Bannister, 4-minute mile. Everybody had to do it for fun now. Everest climbed, Hillary climbed Everest. They all remember them.
Yeah.
So they remember us.
Yeah, man, what it was, we had a good set of lads, and that was it, I think. And you know, all mixed in together, all moulded together, and I think that was one of the big parts of Tottenham having a good side.
And we took down to the pitch, and of course we had a fantastic manager in Bill Nicholson.
Exactly.
And that was the key to it all.
That's right.
No doubt about that. And we could play. We all had our different strengths.
Yeah, that's right.
And it all sort of, it was a good blend, and we got on. And it was, I would say, of all the doubles that's been done, I think that of all of them, I think that's been the
Bob Wilson
best.
said that to me.
It's been the best.
He said he thought Holland were the best of the World Cup sides. He said, I thought you were the best of the double sides. It was quite interesting, that, wasn't it?
I scored 36 goals in that double side. That's what I was pleased about. I thought I'll get that in.
Fantastic.
But it was really, really fantastic, you know, when he did the double. And still, I can't believe that we did the double. It takes a lot to go in, you know what I mean? And
How much of it was down to Bill Nicholson, do you think?
Oh,
he kept you focused all the time.
All the
you know,
he wouldn't
after
let
one
you off the
game.
hook, you know what I mean?
He wouldn't let you become complacent. He would not let that happen.
I remember, I mean...
And I think you've got to be genuine, Jeff. You've got to get yourself fit for this game, because if you're not fit, I mean, I should never play in that cup final. But I said, I'll never play another one. I'm going to play it if it kills me. And I did that. And that's where I was untruthful, not to say anything, but I was happy when I did it. I never let the lads down or anything, because you couldn't have substitutes on then, could you?
No. I remember reading something,
yeah.
Cliff, that you said of Bill Nicholson, and you said he knew more about the game than anybody I've ever known.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to respect that, Jeff, then, you know, sort of, and he worked harder at the game than anybody else, and knew more about it, and he sort of, it would say to us, you will play the way you train. If you train with method and effort, that's how you're going to play.
Right
But if you become sloppy and lackadaisical, you'll become a sloppy player. But he made sure we trained effectively, and he was the main man, there's no doubt about that, Bill, the top man.
We played, when Graves did, for a year, we played with Sheffield United. We were winning 2-1 at half-time. We came in, he had a real go. He said, you should sit in the stand and watch this Sheffield United player. And Greavesy said, well, who's winning? Never mind who's winning. He said he went belly. I've never seen him so mad for a long time. Mad. He said, if you play like that in the second half, you'll get beat. We got beat 3-2. Incredible he was. But he was so dedicated. He was dedicated to the Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Tottenham through. Well, he only lived 50 yards from the ground for like 50 years, and he was that involved with Tottenham Hotspur.
Everything. Yeah. I remember when his eldest daughter got married, he said at the time, he said, I never saw her grow up. And he didn't. Because it was Tottenham.
He was always at the ground, wasn't he?
I know. And then they sacked him, didn't they?
Yeah, that was sad.
That was sad.
But they
restated him.
Restated him,
quite
of course
right.
they should.
The sack me.
A legend.
I went to Brighton for a year. I had one of the best years down at Brighton I've ever had. It was education to go into the 4th division and play. Because all I wanted to do was get at you all. Every game I had, they used to try and get at me.
Because you've been playing for England not very long before.
Yes, well, I played 15 times, Jeff. We got 13 goals for England. And I was still in the side when I went to Brighton, in the England side.
Amazing. Well, look, they were fantastic times and fantastic memories. And Terry, Cliff, Bobby, thank you very much indeed for sharing them with us. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very good. Cheers.